So I'm going to say something that might surprise some of the viewers if you watch the show regularly. Because for months now, I've been saying LeBron's gone. Like, this was your chance.
Yes.
Going into the year, I said the only way he stays is if they win the title. 2 months ago, I said, even if they win the title, LeBron's gone. I didn't do much work in our week off. The little bit I did was trying to talk to some people about this, because I know this is the big sports story of the next month. And I was told, do not slam the door shut on LeBron staying in Cleveland. I wasn't told it's likely. I wasn't told they're the favorite. But I was told
they're back in the picture.
And you shouldn't go on TV and say it's 0%. Basically, is exactly what I was told. So don't call it 0%. Because the point you've been making, C, and I'll let you elaborate on it, the family thing is real. And the point the general public's been making, which is there a perfect fit? Is there a fit that you're like, oh, bingo, that's it?
Right.
That doesn't seem to be there. And so could he stay in Cleveland? Yes. Would he sign a long-term deal in Cleveland? I do not believe that is possible. I think if he does, we're doing all this again in a year. But I now, for the first time in months, think it's a real possibility that he does stay.
And we just miss on the fact that because he's from Ohio, we got Kawhi, he's from California. We got Paul George, he's from California. These guys trying to get back to California. That's what LeBron did his second decision. He left Miami. He left the glitz and the glamour, a couple NBA championships, to say, look at his letter. I'm going back home, because Northeast Ohio means that much. Now, Urban Meyer and I talk about this all the time. We talk to recruits and everything. We talk about, you're going to make a 4-year decision, or you're going to make a 40-year decision? Because I'm approaching, that's how long I've been gone from Ohio and Ohio State. But, Nick, you've been there with me. It's like yesterday. And the way they treat their athletes. LeBron, we see him at Ohio State football games. He's always said, if I went to college, I would go to Ohio State. I would have went to Ohio State because the pool from Ohio. Him and his wife are from Ohio. All right? His business partner, Maverick.
From Ohio.
He's from Ohio.
Rich Paul.
And this is all that they know. They can get to L.A. at some other point in their life or in the offseason. And I just believe the decision is not only LeBron in basketball, his wife has a lot to do with the decision, and those boys who want to play basketball. And you typically who they want to play basketball with? With people they know.
Well, and you can expand on that. And, CeCe, I know you've brought this up. His sons are now at a different age. Back when he was making his decision to go
they weren't a part of the decision.
They didn't have a speaking role, as you would put it.
And
now they do.
Bronny.
Particularly Bronny. And I know we try to be careful on the show and talk about the kid too much because he's 13 years old. Don't want to put added pressure on him. But this kid is beginning to build a profile of his own amongst the recruitment circuit, right? Amongst college basketball, the people that rate young people. And he's doing it with his Ohio team, you know what I mean, with his summer league team. And so, like, that matters at least to a degree. I can't, though, have this discussion without going back a year ago this time, or 11 months ago, and the Kyrie trade. And I say that because of this. What are we now hearing about Paul George? Paul George might stay in Oklahoma City. And Paul George, you can be a free agent, go to L.A., might stay in Oklahoma City. If you remember, the Cavs could have had Paul George. The Cavs, LeBron didn't want them to trade Kyrie, but whatever, they chose to trade Kyrie. They decided they didn't want Paul George because they didn't want a rental. They wasn't going to be able to keep him. They wanted that super valuable Brooklyn pick that became the 8th pick, and Colin Sexton might end up being good.
And actually, what the Cavs offered the Pacers was better than what the Pacers accepted in the trade for Paul George.
What they were initially discussing with him, but then Dan Gilbert wanted that pick. They wanted a post-LeBron future. If LeBron is considering, and I can tell you he is at least considering staying in Cleveland now with this team, what would it be like if Paul George was on the team? If Paul George is considering staying with Russ, he'd be saying,
they would be talking about adding a third piece.
Well, so with that being said, there's a reason you have said 0%. We saw throughout the course of the season, we saw in the postseason a frustration of LeBron. So you can't change the past. What can the Cavs do now to potentially try and persuade him if he were?
Well, I believe that the hold of Ohio is real to LeBron and his camp. But also the fact, how do they get better? Can they go out and get Kimba? Can they get him from Charlotte? That wouldn't, because they got to get better at the guard position. You cannot go back into the 2018-19 season with George Hill and J.R. Smith.
And Jordan Clarkson.
I mean, like, you cannot. I was going to get to him later.
Sorry.
But, I mean, you just cannot do it. Your backcourt's got to get stronger, and you think you've done that through the draft, but they still need to make an additional move.
And this is just, and they obviously don't have the cap space to make the move.
Mm-hmm.
They have two valuable assets outside of LeBron. One is Colin Sexton, but that was more valuable as the 8th pick than as Colin Sexton. Because the 8th pick, when you trade him, it's whomever they want. Now it's a human being. You have to like that player. You have to need a point guard. And the other potential asset's Kevin Love. Kevin Love's only valuable on a very specific set of teams. You can't be trying to beat the Warriors. You have to basically be out east. You've got to be a team that, who looks at Kevin Love and says, I guess maybe the Suns. Like, could the Suns say, all right, we're not trying to compete for a championship, but we don't have our pick next year. Like, we just want to eke into the playoffs as the 8th seed. Like, so they don't have a lot of great ways to improve that basketball team. Kemba Walker, though, if the Hornets want Sexton for Walker and filler, that makes it a little more attractive for LeBron, I'm sure.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on